Okay, we're live. Hey, everybody. This is Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery, and we fired it up just a few seconds early. So we're just going to say hi to everybody, introduce Adam. Adam's here, but he said he's going to be kind of more or less lurking in the background. Adam, how you doing, man?
Good, good. Just getting ready to do some serious lurking. No, I'm here for, I told Bradley I was here for moral support, but I'm here to listen to Lisa and just told him be here for the intro, and then I'm going to mute myself and check out the webinar.
That's awesome. And then Lisa, you guys probably don't, she doesn't need much of an introduction from us because she's been one of the friends of Semantic Mastery for quite some time. She's an awesome product developer. And so Lisa, how you doing, first of all?
Really good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and we're excited to have you here. We appreciate you coming on today.
Hey, I'm really happy for the invitation. I always like hanging out with you guys.
It's awesome. And so, guys, I want to kind of give you just a quick rundown of what she's going to be presenting today, because I had a chance to play with it a little bit. And a lot of you guys are probably already familiar with it. RSS Authority Sniper, which is her tool that can go out and find authority feeds and all that kind of stuff, and then create the splice through her product called RankFeedr, which is like an SEO powerhouse. It's a RSS splicer that adds all this functionality like sticky items, creates co-citation. And again, this is something that she's had out for a couple of years, and it works really, really well. I've talked about it many, many times about it being a very effective SEO tool. And what she's added to this today, and I'm going to let her do all the presentations, but she added a geotagging feature, which is going to be incredibly powerful for those of us that are doing local marketing. And again, most of you guys know pretty much all of what we do now is local stuff, and primarily GMB, Google My Business, asset pushing, and that kind of stuff, lead generation. And this is going to be very, very powerful for that. And I started already setting up some tests. It's funny, but I contacted her on Friday in preparation for this webinar today, and had to get a license issue sorted. And she got right back to me, and I set up a couple of test feeds for some GMB assets that I have, and already one of them moved. It's crazy. It's only been 3 days. And I was like, this is either very coincidental or it works. And I'm leaning towards it works. So I've actually got 2 case studies that I'm documenting right now concerning using this feed. I'll probably add a couple more assets into there too, so I can get a really good test. And once I have some data back, guys, I'm going to do a follow-up to anybody that joins this today to share my case study data and maybe some additional methods to add on top of that. So with that said, I don't want to take any time from you. I'd like to just turn it right over to you and let you take it away.
Okay, great. Let me move this little distraction item. See?
Oh, the meower.
Yep. That's Pacey. So let's get right into it. Oh, she bit me. Didn't bite me hard. She just got annoyed that I moved her. Fun. Okay, so I have a presentation, a bunch of slides. Probably seen some of them before, but I've updated them for 3.0 with some of the extra information that we got here. So let's see. Chat, screen share. Let's go to that. And
right, I'm gonna lock it on you, Lisa.
Okay, perfect. Let me get back in here. Okay, so this is co-citation and borrowing authority.
Hold on a second. We're looking at your support desk.
You're looking at my support desk.
Yeah, I'm seeing your support tickets.
That's interesting.
There. No, that's the front page.
Well, fortunately, it was just your ticket that we were looking at, and so not somebody else's private ticket. All right, so sorry about that.
We're still now we're seeing the registration page. So I don't know if you selected the wrong browser window or what.
All right, because that's interesting. I always have trouble with this. I don't know why. Maybe
try your whole screen, desktop, and then just expand it. I don't know if that works for you or what.
Yeah. Okay. Screen share.
By the way, Google Plus is dead. Did you see that notification?
I did. I'm getting all these notices. I'm like, wow. And they're talking about how
there you go.
problems with usability in that. And I'm thinking, well, it's nice you finally admit that nobody wants to use your
Ghost
stuff.
town.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so after many false starts, here we go. Cocitation and borrowing authority. And we're going to talk about how this works and how, I mean, I think Google is getting more and more this way rather than going away from this. So I keep hearing every once in a while people say, oh, does this still work? Yes, it really does still work because Google is getting more and more all about their algorithms and their little smart little artificial intelligence figuring out what you're talking about and what's related to that. So Google has a lot of different signals that they listen to and that they home in on in order to determine what you are talking about and where it fits within their rankings. And so when you can use multiple of those signals in one technique, you'll always get better, faster results. And so this is a technique that I've been doing for a little while, but it combines several different signals, and that's part of why it's so effective. So I'm just going to go over really quick over the signals that it uses. One of the big ones is topic relevance. Now, gone are the days when you could make up a page and just put a ton of the same keyword in the background and have Google think that that meant that that should rank for that keyword. That is totally and completely gone. I think you can agree with that right there, Bradley.
Sorry, I was muted, but yes, absolutely.
You were muted? Okay. All right. Well, if you're going to mute yourself, I'm going to stop talking to you and asking you.
It's all right. Go ahead. I'll keep myself unmuted.
Okay. So those days are really, really gone. So topic relevance is now more about the whole of what you're saying and how the keywords relate to one another. So you might have a page on your site that's talking about golf, but it would also have words like swing and like caddy and greens, and Google kind of looks at all those words related together and it says, okay, I have a package that's more than just one keyword deep. I have a whole ton of different keywords that are all related because I see them being used together all the time. And what that means now for us is that pages can rank for words that are not even directly on our page. And I'm sure you've had that happen to you before, where you've gone and you've looked at what you're ranking for and you found keywords you were not even targeting that are now you're ranking for, and the words, both of the words or three words might not even be on your page, but Google has said, I know that there's a synonym out here for this, and so I'm going to rank this page for that, even though it doesn't directly say that. And so that is what we refer to as semantics, and I'm sure your group knows all about semantics, being as you are semantic mastery.
There you go.
And so we know that Google also looks not only on your own website and the category names of your website and the page names and you know your on-page content, but it also looks at where you link to, and it looks several steps outward. Now, I'm sure you guys have all heard of the 2-hop rule. When the government wants to spy on you, if they get a warrant, they can not only spy on you, but they can spy on the people that you call and the people that they call, and that's called the 2-hop rule. Well, Google has something that's very similar to that, but they carry that out much, much further. It used to be just 1 or 2 layers, and now it goes out many, many layers. And so it also can be related back to you, people you didn't link to, but linked to you, who are talking about a specific topic consistently. And so that becomes really, really beneficial for us now that they've closed all the other old loopholes that we used to get away with. And so that's topic relevance. Now, another one that this technique goes after is your domain authority. Now, I'm sure you've been to some websites that if you type in a keyword on a particular topic, and it could be almost any keyword, that website will be ranking for that keyword. And it's because Google considers them an authority. And so their domain, or it can even be a YouTube channel, because it kind of YouTube treats channels as sort of like a subdomain. But their domain can have a lot of authority, and almost anything that they post will automatically rank. And so that's another point that we're manipulating with this technique, is that we are improving our domain's authority and making ourselves look more trustworthy because of all of the other authority links that are around us. They might not link to us directly, but people who are talking about that topic, or doing news on that topic, like a news channel or an RSS site, an aggregator, will have this additional ability to transfer the authority between different sites that they're talking about. And it's sort of an interesting little case of link juice traveling backwards, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in just a minute. Okay, so now this is from 2012 is really when they started to develop this. This is when Google really decided that they were going to change how they determine whether a site should rank. And so they started doing a lot more semantics and a lot more of what they call cocitation and co-occurrence. So they would look for the people who were being talked about by other people, and other people who talk about that topic a lot. So if you have, say, a news site that is dedicated to preparedness, and they're always rounding up the different news that's going on around preparedness, and so they cite this site that's on an expert on preparedness, and that site that's an expert on preparedness, and then they talk about you. Well, Google kind of considers that whole, they must be reliable because they're talking about these other sites that I already know and like. And so this is a quote from Search Engine Journal talking about when they first discovered that Google was doing this. Now, as we know, Google does a lot of their stuff in quiet. They do it undercover, and they don't really like to tell us what they're doing because they don't want us to be able to figure out exactly how to get them to do what we want them to do. And of course, there's this little war going on between us and Google all the time as SEOs to, get what we need for us and our clients, and they're trying to make it so that we can't. And so in 2012, Search Engine Journal wrote an article about this, and they said in that article, if you remember, after the famous Google Panda and Google Penguin updates, link building was significantly revolutionized by the introduction of new, more pure and reliable methods by Google. Likewise, SEO professionals are now suggesting that anchor text is perhaps diminishing in significance and is now being replaced by co-citation and co-occurrence, as many SEO professionals and analysts believe. And since that time, it's really just gotten even stronger and stronger, where this is a bigger and bigger factor.
Yeah, and that's just to jump in, but that's because of RankBrain and artificial intelligence, and the semantic web engine has gotten so much stronger on Google's side that it's absolutely, you can see it, almost on from 2012 to now, it's evolved quite a bit.
Yeah, it really has. It really has. And the more that they've crawled different sites and added to their knowledge base of different topics, the more they're able to do this and extract that out automatically, where they used to have human curators in some cases, but the machine learning has really just taken off there. Okay, so now let's talk about what co-citation is. Now, let's say that I was site B, and I put a link out to site A. Well, that's called a direct citation. That's not a co-citation. That's a direct citation because I am directly talking about this site. But a co-citation happens when you're only connected on topic by a different site. So if I'm site B And site A is a site that does a lot of news and covers a certain topic that, like, maybe say there's a hobby that a lot of people like to do, like say maybe amateur radio. And this site A talks about amateur radio a lot. And they link out to many different sites because they're a news site. They're not really generating a lot of content that's really completely original, but they're curating information from other places. Now, let's say that site C is a really important site and they get mentioned on this page on a certain topic. And I'm site B and I also get mentioned on this site. Well, Google looks at this and says, site A is talking about this site a lot. They look an awful lot like a news site, and they're curating information and they're providing a valuable service to people who are interested in this topic. And I see that they're reliable because they're talking about site C, who I know already is big, important, useful, and I really like to rank them. So, but I don't know much about site B, but it looks like they must be important too because I see that they're mentioned in the same breath with this other site. And so when you're talking about that, you're looking at a co-citation. Both sites are mentioned by some other third party at the same time on the same page. And that is a co-citation, or also called co-occurrence. All right, so now, Search Engine Journal also had more to say about this. They talked about the shift towards implied links. Now, what is an implied link? Well, as we mentioned, there's a direct link where I link out or somebody links to me directly. That's a direct link. But an implied link is when I don't directly say these two sites are related, but because I'm talking about both of them at the same time, there is an implication that I think they're related, even though I don't have to directly say it. And Search Engine Journal said, as strange as it may sound, co-citation refers to the process of link building without actual links. Now, unlike anchor text, where actual links were embedded in words or phrases, co-citation does not necessarily have to involve actual outgoing links to your website or blog. So in other words, they don't even have to put your blog in a hypertext link. They can merely talk about you by name and Google will still figure out who they mean. And more precisely, the process of co-citation refers to the similarities found between two web pages. So if we're both talking about similar topics and we have slightly different variants of things to say about that topic, and you know, we've written our own original content, but we're similar, then that also makes us more reliable, more authoritative in Google's sites. And they do this based on third-party web page that mentions the first two web pages in a correlation with each other. Based on that co-citation, Google identifies a relationship or link between those two websites, which is then used as an important search engine ranking factor. Not just minor, important. And so that is one of the ways that we can kind of have other people's authority rub off on us. Alrighty, so, and then, now you might think that, well, that happens to me every once in a while, that somebody mentions me who's also mentioning somebody big, and I don't really see much effect from it. And the thing with this is that it becomes really effective the more you do it. And so if you have repeated co-citations for different sites and they're all related around that same topic, then you start to see your authority really climb. And Search Engine Journal said, although a few citations may not drastically improve your search engine rankings, it will definitely put you on the right direction in terms of improving your website's search engine optimization. On being associated a lot of times by impartial sources, it has the potential to create a significant positive impact on your website or blog. And sometimes that can happen really, really fast. When I was doing my jewelry supply store and we were curating articles and then linking out to a lot of different sites that were talking about making jewelry, we saw a real real swift change in rankings for certain keywords. And we would see that a lot of our content would pop right to the top the first day that it was up there, or you would see it that it was indexed within an hour or two, So there's all kinds of different ways that Google can respond that are positive, and one of them is, ranking quickly, ranking for more keywords than you were before, more little keywords, and then being indexed really, really quickly. Let's see. Huh. I seem to have a duplicate slide.
Duplicate content.
Yeah. I'm not really quite sure why that's in there unless I had something else about that. Oh yeah, I remember what this is. This is from the slide next to it. So what's really happening if I'm site B and I'm, site C is not linking to me. So the link juice is not passing to me directly from site C. But what is happening is that site A is getting more authority because they are, as a news site, talking about a lot of different sites like site C that have interesting information on the same topic. And so you start to see site C's link juice flow backwards to site A just by the fact that they're talking about them. Google says, oh, you're a news site. That makes you more authoritative automatically. And then because they're mentioning me, the link juice does this and makes a U-turn and goes back to me. So you have link juice actually flowing backwards in a U, which is really, really fun to contemplate. I don't know, most of you probably didn't consider that link juice can flow backwards, but sometimes it does. And so what we're doing with Cocitations is we're making that happen on purpose. And so the link juice will flow forward to the destination sites and backward to the linking sites, and then it makes the U-turn through the indirect or implied links. Hang on for just a second. Let me grab a sip of water here. Okay, so when we're doing Cocitations, the three important content ranking factors that we're manipulating directly are the content's semantic relevance by, having this network going out of links that go out different places that are all related to our topic. And so you've got that several different layers of the Google brain figuring out that this is all related, and we might rank for words that are not on our pages but are related nonetheless. We're also leveraging site authority, so other people's site authority, and we're feeding that authority back into our site, so it makes it easier for us to rank for different keywords. And the more small keywords, you'll see it start with the small keywords first, but the more small keywords we rank for, as most people know, the easier it becomes to rank for the larger and more important keywords, because you have a lot of little keywords, and Google will look at that and say, okay, I see a big swarm of keywords that are all related that this site is worthy of, and that means their site must have authority. And it also transfers site trust when you have an outside party talking about your site who also talks about a lot of other newsworthy sites. And so those are the three most important things that this technique leverages. And, you'll see some other things come up too. There's things like freshness and that sort of thing in there. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so now when I first became aware of this technique, I actually saw somebody else doing it to rank videos on their video channels on YouTube. And it took me a while to figure out what he was doing, because he didn't tell you what he was doing and why he was doing that. And so I had to really kind of go away and think about it for a while. And when I finally figured it out, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. And so at that time, there weren't any tools to do that. And that's why this tool got built that I'm going to show you a little bit later. But what we would have to do is that we would go and we would write some articles and place them on a PBN or other Web 2.0 site, along with links to authorities and then our own money site. So we were building our own intermediary site to act as the news site. And then we were using links out to authorities who we refer to as movie stars. And then we would also do co-citations to our own money sites from there. And of course, it's very time consuming. It's a lot of work to build PBNs. There are some tools that you can use to make it a little bit faster, but it can be quite time consuming. And then of course, if you want to actually properly put them all kinds of different places, you have all kinds of different hosting bills to have one over here that doesn't look like it's connected to that one. And so you're doing an awful lot of work and spending an awful lot of money to try and hide your footprint. And we found that the co-citation carrier articles in that kind of a situation where it was just a simple article that was never updated would eventually fall out of favor with Google as they age and Google forgets about them. And I'm sure you've seen that happen with some of your own articles that, you know, for a while Google really likes it and then somebody writes something newer and all of a sudden you're out of the rankings.
Yeah, that's the freshness factor.
Right. Yes, exactly. All right, so we developed a way to do this faster and do it in kind of a semi-automatic way so that it would cause that to happen faster. We wouldn't have to write content, and we would do the freshness would happen automatically without us having to do a lot of work that way. So what we would do is that we would employ RSS feeds, and RSS feeds are really ideal for this because they don't have a, you know how Google likes to punish you if they catch you manipulating things. RSS feeds are actually meant for the broadcasting and syndication of content. They are meant to announce that new content exists. So Google doesn't punish anybody for RSS feeds. And so when we would do this, we would create the RSS feeds from our own content feeds, and then we would go and we would find movie stars, in other words, websites that Google really likes, who had a lot of authority in that niche, and then we would take their feeds and mix it with ours, and that would make it so that we didn't really need to write a lot of new content, you know, specifically for SEO purposes. And then the feed would constantly refresh, so the new authority content would be in that environment. So basically what we're doing is we're setting up kind of like a little diorama. You know how people will kind of sometimes build a little town and they'll have a little backdrop of this, and then they'll have a little general store next to it, and so it all looks like a complete little town. Well, with our RSS feeds, what we're doing is we're building a complete little town around this topic, and because the information is coming in from feeds, new items will come into that, new content from these different authority sites will come in and be seen side by side with your own all the time. And then, in order to keep the item that we're targeting from dropping out of the feed, because that's something that happens to RSS feeds, is that when you get new content comes in, the newest content, the oldest content drops out the bottom. And so in order to keep a particular page getting that juice from the other authority sites, we want that particular piece to stay there, and then we want everything else to change around it. And so that maintains that Google is still looking at that instead of it falling out the bottom and being forgotten. And so we actually originally were using Yahoo Pipes to accomplish that, but once that closed, we had to build something of our own because there really was nothing that would do that would keep an item specifically in a feed that didn't already come from a feed.
Yeah, and Yahoo Pipes was geeky. Like you had to be a nerd to like figure out how to set it up because there was always crazy filters and functions and stuff. And
oh yeah,
it was very difficult.
Yes, it was. It was even for people who are geeky, and you know I count myself among that crowd. it was difficult, and that's actually why we built RSS Authority Sniper, was to make it so that it was a lot easier to do, so you weren't having to drag things around and connect them here and type in that and copy and paste this, and that was a bit of a nightmare before we built the tool. All right, so now, do we have any questions right now that maybe you think I should address before we go into?
No, everything can wait. Nothing important.
Okay, nothing important. Okay, so now you might be wondering what a Cocitation RSS feed looks like, and so I've kind of drawn up this little graphic, and you see the different colors indicate different websites. And so let's say that this is an article that I am trying to push, and remember that you're not trying to push simply one particular article or page on your website. You would do this to multiple different pages on the site, because what you're trying to do really is raise the authority of the site. And once the authority of the site comes up, it pulls all the pages up with it. And so this is like, you know, tying this one to a balloon over here, and tying a different page to a balloon over there, and tying a different page to another balloon, and so you get all of that starts to have significant power to lift the whole authority of the site, and the whole authority of the site lifts the pages. Okay, so what you normally see when you do a Cocitation RSS feed is that you would have a headline. Now, you see the headline, Golf Tips and Tricks Newsletter. You usually want the keyword that you're trying to target in that headline, because like the title of a blog post, the title of an RSS feed is what Google thinks it's about. And so this particular RSS feed that's pointing at, that's trying to lift the site and this particular page on my site, that would be the keyword that I'm really trying to target for this page. And then I'd have authority site A, which is another golf article or video. And then I'd have authority site B, which is another golf article or video from a different site. And these are all sites that Google already likes and thinks well of and trusts. And then you'd have authority site C. So you'd have 3 sites you're basically getting co-citations from through this feed, because the feed is news, and the feed is setting up this little kind of like a little diorama, a little environment for Google to see your content in. It's kind of like setting up a little zoo environment, you know, that the animal belongs in this habitat, and so Google looks through the lens and sees your site in this little habitat. And then of course you'd have more content from the other sites, and these all would be added through the RSS feed. So these would all be changing all the time, and you would have some of your own content that's also changing, and so that provides the freshness. And that, of course, as we know, keeps it that interesting to Google. Google likes to come back and look at things again that have been updated all the time. So by using RSS, we're automatically getting that updated without us having to come back and manually update it ourselves. And so when we're doing the co-citation system, I refer to that as the living co-citation system. And the reason I call it living is because of all of the freshness. You know, plants keep growing, so they're living. People keep growing. Knowledge keeps growing. So it's all kind of a living system. And instead of just being one and done and nothing ever changes and you get bored of it and there's nothing to come back for. Because we don't want Google to think that about our site. We want Google to keep seeing the different things all together. So with the system, you have the engine, which is the feed creator. And so each one of those creates co-citations in the feed. So we have co-citations out to these other sites that are important. And then we also include some static pages. And by static pages, that would mean your page that you want to continuously be the beneficiary of all this other juice that's flowing around. And then you have the feeds from the authority site coming in here, and that's part of what creates the cocitations. And then the search engines and feed readers will see these cocitations as they come back and recrawl the feeds. And then, of course, you have Google search, and you have some, the RSS Authority Sniper desktop software is over here. Because what it does is it goes and gets all the Google search, and then from Google it finds out what Google likes, what sites are in authority for that, so that we can pull their feeds. And it gets other information about how much authority those sites do from Moz, and it sends things over to FeedBurner. So it's a full system, but instead of making you have to do all of this manually, because you can see it gets quite involved, all you do is you walk through a simple wizard that then does all this stuff outside of your view for you. All right, so this is kind of what a web of cocitations to a site would look like after we've done a few of these. And so here's your website, and this would be like maybe one of the pages that you want to rank. And here's a bunch of other pages that you want to rank. But you see how they're not really isolated? They are, so here's like one of the little cocitation engines out here, one of the RSS feeds that keeps refreshing. And here's the other sites that it's linking out to. And so you can see that you get a lot of cocitations, but they're spread out over the website. And that, because each one of these acts like a little lifter or a little balloon, it pulls the authority of the whole website up, and you'll start to see the authority of the individual pages, and the rankings of the individual pages also lift. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, it does to me.
Okay. All right. Now, what's been added here in 3.0 is that we decided to make use of a little known RSS standard called GeoRSS. And if you go over to georss.org, there's a lot of information about what is in it. And basically, it's allowing you to add GPS information to RSS feeds, which really helps with the local SEO. Now, you've always kind of been able to hint in the rest of the process. So when I'm doing this part of the process and I'm making a feed, I've always been able to add location information by name. So like if I'm doing work for a lawyer, let's say this is a client's website who's a lawyer who does work in, say, Denver, I could always put Denver divorce lawyer, and in this feed, and then in this one I could put Denver tax attorney, assuming they did both, or Denver DUI attorney. And so if I had an attorney there in Denver who did all of these different things, then I could spread all of that around and point it to all the different pages, and that would lift the whole website. But you couldn't put GPS targeting information in there before. And so this is really, really useful for local SEO. And so there's two different levels or tiers of GPS targeting that is available through the GeoRSS standard, and we've integrated this into RankFeedr so that you can actually add this information to our feeds now. And I'm not really aware of anybody else who's adding this information or making it possible for you to add information like this into a feed. I'm sure after a while somebody will come along.
FeedBurner does have a what do they call it? Geotag or geosplicing or something like that as a function. Yeah, it's in one of the optimize submenus under the FeedBurner thing, where you could add a zip code or specific geo coordinates. But
okay.
That was it. I mean, it was like you couldn't add what you're going to show about the
right,
and that kind of stuff. So
right. Yeah, so we and actually there's more of the spec that we could implement. It's just I wanted to start with this because some of it gets a little bit complicated to explain, and I thought some of it was a little maybe wouldn't be that useful for what we're using it for. So this is the part that we've done. Okay, so the first basic level is that you can choose a coordinates type. Now, coordinates type can be what they call a point or a box. Now, a point is, say I'm standing right here. That point where I'm standing is composed of a latitude and a longitude number. So let's say I'm just going to make up some numbers. These are probably not going to make much sense. And so that would be my latitude, and my longitude would be like maybe 200.543. So that would be where I'm standing in a single point. You notice that there's no comma in between them, just a space. And then if I was going to do a box is composed of just two of the corners. Now, it's a little bit funny, but I suppose it makes sense to some programmers somewhere. And so you have to start with the lower right corner, and then you do the upper left corner of the box. And so that you can enclose an area and say, this is the whole area, the box, that this GPS coordinates refers to. So I could do like a whole city, or a whole zip code, or a whole block, or, you know, some area of service that my company provides service to. So the box becomes really, really useful as well. And so let's say that.
So that would be, just to interrupt for a second, that would be really good for service area businesses.
Correct.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So if there's a service area, or maybe a particular part of your county that, you know, maybe your client is looking for specific cities, you can just define a box that covers the whole thing and use the numbers that way. So let me just show you what box coordinates look like. So you have, that would be the lower right corner. They have to be in this order. I don't know why they picked the lower right corner first and then the upper left. But then you would have something else that would be the upper left. So let's say maybe this would be 140, and this might be, let's see, minus 100. So, and you notice that they're all just spaces in between them. So even though they're pairs, they're just separated by spaces. So 4 coordinates is a box, and 2 coordinates is a point. Now that
lat long, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the advanced version, there's some other additional information that can be added. And so we can do the type of coordinates. It can be a business or a city or a county or a state, or like say maybe a postal code. And then these three, see these two, the coordinate type and the actual coordinates, are required together. So you can't have one without the other. And then in the advanced, all 3 of these also have to be filled in. So you can have, you know, choose the coordinate type and how it relates to it. Right now, the option is centered at, because I really just couldn't think of any others at the moment. And this is actually kind of interesting because this is really, really flexible. I put some options in there by default for the application, but I can add more if people think of other options that aren't in here besides business or city or something else. Because this is what's called a folksonomy. And basically what that means is that the people who are using it get to make up their own meanings and their own vocabulary for it, and it will just sort of grow organically. So, you know, we're not stuck with these. So if there's other things that you want me to put in there, but what's that?
I said, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it can grow. The vocabulary for this can grow because we're not limited to something that other people have thought up. And so then the last thing that's in the advanced is the other information. So it's like a name, can be a name, a keyword, a phrase. And so if I wanted to put Denver divorce lawyer here, I can have my coordinates. I can have, you know, whether it's a box or a point, I can say a business. And then I can say it's centered at these coordinates. And then I could put Denver divorce lawyer. Or if I wanted to, you know, put some other phrase like a keyword phrase, or if I wanted to just name a city, or I wanted to just put in a postal code, then that would be what would be filled in there on the GPS. And so it actually gives you quite a bit of flexibility to hint to Google more about what you're really about and what this feed should be indexed as. And so that makes it a lot easier to target local SEO, you know, businesses and those type of things. All right, so now would you like me to give a little demo of RSS Authority Sniper 3?
Yes.
Just walk through the interface?
Yes, please.
All right, let's do that then. Okay, so are you seeing RSS Authority Sniper yet or not?
No, I'm just seeing your
Okay.
slide still.
All right, so need to switch, it looks like.
You should be able to select just that application.
Yeah. All right.
There you go.
Okay, so this is the application. This is the desktop application. It's done in Adobe Air, so it works on Mac and PC. And you can see that we have a little wizard here. You just walk through the tabs. So instead of having to figure out where to copy and paste this and where to put that, and it just walks you right through it, so you can do it relatively quickly. So what you do here, let me go grab a piece of content. Okay, I'm going to grab a post off of my Authority SEO Lab blog. And it's called 10 Best YouTube Alternatives for 2019. And I'm going to paste the URL in here right now. Sorry about the coughing. I'm getting a little bit of a tickle in my throat here. So when I say get feed info, what it does is it goes out and verifies that there's actually a page here. And then instead of me having to go and figure out what the feed is for that and paste it in there, it just goes out, looks for it, and finds it and fills it in. So that's part of the information that I'm going to need to create a co-citation feed. So I go to the next step, and let's say I wanted to rank for YouTube alternatives. Okay, so I'm going to look for some feeds, and it's going to go out to Google, and it's going to find out what Google likes for that keyword, what sites it likes, and then it's going to check each of those sites for their feeds. And you can see it's found 4 already, 5. And the number that it finds will vary because, you know, while Google, it'll check the first couple of pages of Google, it'll, you know, because those are really the ones that are the most useful to us. But not every site that Google ranks will have a feed.
Yeah, I found a lot of sites recently are not providing an RSS feed, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, I think some people have, there is a bit of a they don't want their content to be reutilized by somebody else.
Yep.
All right, so, and now it's going and looking for. Okay, so what we got here is we got a list of feeds, and you can see that it's gone to Moz, and there's a key that you put in your settings for your and you can use it one of the free Moz accounts for that, so you don't need to get a new subscription for that. But here we have the domain authority of the site and the page authority of the page that was ranking. And so, so like Small Biz Trends has a 79. And if I preview this, you can see what's in the feed. And this is all about small business stuff. So you kind of want to find the stuff that is in your wheelhouse, but not a direct competitor for your companion feeds. And so this one talks about marketing, and I guess YouTube can be considered marketing, and businesses like to use YouTube for marketing. So, you know, this might be one that I would pick because it has a really good domain authority and a really good page authority on that. So I'm going to add that one to my short list. And then I'm going to look at this one. 21 smart ways to get more subscribers on YouTube. So you see that it's kind of fuzzy close, but not directly competing with the content that I'm doing. And so that's kind of the way you want it. I see a lot of people who will email me and say, I can't find anything on the, you know, this brand of curling iron. Well, you really don't want to be putting your direct competitors in there. You want the people who are related to you through kind of a fuzzy matching. So instead of, you know, this type of curling iron, you want stuff that's like maybe hairstyling, hair trends, you know, because they're related, but they're related to curling irons, but they're fuzzy. They're not directly competing with you for the.
That's how you start getting those co-occurring keywords to start ranking too, right?
Correct. Absolutely. So they're not an exact match. And that's something that I find is a mistake that a lot of people make, is that they think that they need to find content that exactly matches theirs, and you don't, and actually you don't want it to.
Well, let me give an example for this real world example. I do a lot of lead generation in the tree service industry. Everybody knows that. And so, but it's hard to find more than just a handful of really good authoritative RSS feeds and about tree care and forestry and stuff like that. So lawn and gardening, landscaping blogs, all of those are still relevant, guys.
Yes. Yes, those are very, very good choices, Bradley. Do you like me to call you Bradley, or
Yes,
just call you Brad?
Bradley.
Okay.
Funny that you just asked that now after all this time.
Well, it's just struck me as formal there for a moment, and I'm thinking, am I being too formal? Okay, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Is, you know, that things that are around that wheelhouse and not directly over the target are in a lot of ways more useful to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see, what else we got? I added 2 there. Let's look at this last one. Well, this guy does alternatives to different other things, talking a lot about software, and so I actually think this one would be really good as well, because it's the same kind of content without being directly the same content. Okay, so I've added 3. Now these 3, you can see from how high their domain authority is, that these are some really good people for me to leech a little bit of authority from, and just kind of borrow it, and it rubs off on me. And I'm going to go back to kind of an analogy that I've used before. If I went and I sat down in Hollywood at a cafe, and along comes Angelina Jolie, comes up, says, "Hi, hey, girlfriend, and gives me a big hug and sits down and has coffee with me. And the next day, a different movie star, like maybe her ex-husband, comes along, gives me a big hug and says, hey, girl, and we have lunch. How many days do you think it's going to be before the paparazzi are following me home to find out who I am? And Google is just like that. They're insatiably curious about everything that is going on. If they were a cat, they would have used up all 9 lives about 10 years ago. They are that curious about what's going on. They want to know trends, you know. So by doing this, we're essentially making Google follow us home. So we're putting our face in the picture with them, with a movie star, and letting them follow us home and find out how important we are. Okay, so now this is the part where we actually go over to RankFeedr. And RankFeedr hosts and updates these feeds on a consistent basis. It also does repeated pinging so that we get the search engines visiting over and over, and it will, you know, ping on an interval. So the first thing that you need to do, you notice that some of the screen is kind of grayed out. That's because we haven't actually loaded one of our accounts yet. So I'm going to load my Jessica Rabbit account, and then we can start creating the actual co-citation feed. So the feed title goes in the first one, and I would put YouTube, because remember, this is one of the keywords that I'm targeting, and I'm actually targeting 2019 because I want them to know that I'm talking about the latest information. And then I would write a keyword rich with long tail keywords included in here description. So, and this is the description of the feed. Something a little bit different or a little bit better, depending on what you were after and what you were targeting. And then I would want to select a, well, actually, I'll make something else, like maybe software. You can, for the projects, you can put your, you can organize them by topic or by website or by client. The projects are not seen anywhere other than in your site or in your dashboard. And then we got a feed category, and so this is just more targeting. We're using categories to target what the feed is about. And let's see, arts and entertainment, ongoing vehicles, literature. So you get a lot of different, I think I'm going to do computer software. And then I can add some tags. The tags also appear in the feed. That's an update that we made not too long ago, where the tags didn't used to appear in the feed. They appeared on the landing page. But so now I'm some tags, and I want to put in YouTube and maybe alternative video sharing. And you can put up to 10 tags in there. Now, if I was going to do this for a local business, then you can see here's the GPS. So I could put in point. Now, of course, that doesn't really make a lot of sense for my YouTube alternatives, but I'm going to run it through that just so you can see how it works anyway. Now, here there is a little button here, the little GPS pointer, and if you click that, it will take you to a site where you can look up coordinates by place name. And so if you go to, let's see, looks like I'm gonna have to swap on that again. I go to there we are. Okay, so this is latlong.net, and I can type in a place name. So if I wanted to pick out Chandler, Arizona as my city, just click find, and it will give me latitude and longitude. Now these are point latitude and longitude. If you want to do a box, you're going to have to look up coordinates twice or pick them out on a map. So like here's the point, and I can move this or move the point around on some maps. It's not letting me do that around. Okay, let's say I wanted it here. So if I wanted my box, this would be my lower corner, which is the first one. And I would take this for box, and I would go back, and I'll show you the other in just a second here. And then if I wanted this to be the upper corner of my box, I would take this one. So that would enclose all the area that was in between those 2 points, and it will kind of assume where the other two corners of the box are. Paste those in. Okay, so let us go back so you can see this. Right. Okay, so you can see now that I've got, actually I need to do box. So if I wanted to enclose most of Chandler, then I could do this box, and you see we've got a latitude and a longitude and another latitude and a longitude. So we've got 4 coordinates for a box. And then for the advanced stuff, I'm going to choose a city, and I'm going to say that it's at the center of this place, of this box, and I can say you know, I realize that some of this doesn't make a whole lot of sense because this is just stuff I'm making up on the fly. Okay, so you see that I put another keyword here. I put YouTube alternatives as the feed, so I'm hinting what keyword I'm after. But I'm also hinting a place and a keyword for that place. And then I choose, after that, I want to ping this feed as soon as I publish it. And then I'm going to drip ping it. And you can choose from 3, 7, 15 days. So this is the server, the RankFeedr server is going to come back to this and re-notify search engines automatically of this every whatever interval you choose. So let's do every week. I'm going to have that re-pinged. And then you've got some sorting, so you can change how the feed is sorted. You can use like the static things in the top of the feed first, or you can shuffle the static items. And let me just show you what a static item is. See how we've got this? You review your content URLs, the post URL. That will be one of your static items. That will stay in the feed forever. So it's always in that feed, even though all the other things around it might change. It's always in that feed. So that's
one of the sticky items.
Yeah, sticky or static. I probably should change it to sticky on the.
Either one, right? Everybody understands that, I hope.
Yeah. And then you can organize them by date, or you can have it randomized. Now, some of the different reasons you might want to sort them a different way would be if you're using it for auto blogging. You obviously don't want, like if you're running it through your IFT networks, IFT will have a tendency to look at just the first item, and if it always sees the same first item in that feed, because your statics are always pinned to the top, then it won't do anything. It'll say, oh, well, there's no new content for me. So you want it to shuffle things in the first third, or do newest, organize them by newest or random. in that case, because obviously if you have it running through an if program, then what you want out of it is a little bit different, and you don't want it to be not seeing your changes. Okay, so, and now if we want to, we can also add a couple of other sticky items. You can add a .gov or a .edu in here, and if you just click there, it'll give you a place to put them. And so that makes it really nice for, you get a little bit of additional authority coming in from those .gov and those .edus being co-cited along with you. We call that a sandwich, a co-citation sandwich. And then, of course, whatever feeds you decided to shortlist, it takes 3. But I allow you to pick them over here again because, you know, if you're over here and you choose 3 or 4 or 5 and then you want to make your final choice once you get here, you can do that. Okay, so once we've done that, we just need to click Create Authority Feed and get URL. Should have 4 numbers. I do have 4 numbers. What are you talking about? All right, let me check. Oh, I'm missing a space. That's what's going on.
On the next one, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. And it'll take it a minute to, and it's been created. Now, sometimes you'll have it come back and say that it couldn't reach the API. Usually that means that one of the feeds or one of the extra pages that you were trying to get, that the site refused to give it to us, or it took too long to load. And usually in that case, I just choose something else for it. Okay, so it's created the feed over on RankFeedr. And if we go over to the next thing, you can see that it's got the URL of the feed that is hosted over on RankFeedr now. And we've got a nice keyword-friendly URL. And then what you want to do is you want to log into a FeedBurner account, and I haven't oversight on my part, I haven't added one on this computer. So, well, I think I'm just gonna talk through the rest of it rather than have to go load that.
So yeah, I mean, because right there essentially is just where you log into the RankFeedr account that's associated or connected to the RSS Authority Sniper, and then
correct.
When you click Burn the Feed, it will create the feed and then go to Google and create or burn it in FeedBurner as well.
Correct.
Right? And then it will provide you with the FeedBurner URL down there also.
Right.
Okay.
And then when you get to the next one, you would want to give it a keyword or a title, and you can vary this from the keyword you were targeting in the feed title if you want, or you can just use it again or whatever. And you'd have your FeedBurner URL would be here, and then it would run pings on all of these things from your local computer. So we've got 2 sets of pings going on. We've got a ping going on from the server, which is the RankFeedr server, and then you've got an initial ping that's running here. So you've got, you know, noise coming about this feed from 2 different directions initially. And then what RankFeedr does is it will actually put it in the queue, and when it gets to that in the queue, it will start pinging all of your feeds too. And we have about 97 or 98, depending on how many are up that day, ping listeners, that search engines that were pinging and notifying of this. So you have not only Google coming to crawl, but you have Yahoo, and you have Yandex, and you have Bing, and you know there's a whole bunch of different. So you make a whole holy racket about your content, and so the search engines hear all this racket all at once and go, oh, I better go over there, run over there, and see what's going on. And that's actually part of the reason that you see a lot of this stuff get indexed so quickly, is because you've not only run it through FeedBurner, and in order for FeedBurner to serve a feed, it's got to know what's in it, and so that mainlines it right into Google through the feed and through FeedBurner. But then you also have a lot of notifications coming from other places which says this content is important. Please come over here and see it. And that's basically how the process works. You can see that it's pretty quick. You got 5 little steps, and you just fill in the blanks, and that's it. And then it'll end up in your history tab. So if you have like a VA or somebody, you can kind of ask them to export their history and send it to you, so you can find out what they've been up to. And because this works with an API key with RankFeedr, it also means that you can give this software to your VA, and you don't have to give them complete and total access to your RankFeedr account. So they can't go and delete any of your old feeds that are working, still running and pinging and notifying and updating and doing all the little freshness and come hither motions.
So
they can search engines over there.
So I would like to take a couple minutes just to chat about how I think this could be used, guys, and how I've got some tests set up right now that I just set up on Friday. I can share some examples here if you guys want to see it. But guys, we're pushing the GMB asset building, right? So Google My Business properties. And one of the things that I see this being used for is pushing additional geo-relevance, right? So geographic relevance into our GMB listings, as well as topical relevance, right? So going out and again, I can show you a live example. I will here in just a minute. I'll drop three URLs: the RankFeedr feed URL, the RSS version, the HTML version, and then I'll drop the FeedBurner feed as well to show you guys an actual live example, one that I just set up on Friday for a GMB asset. And here's the thing: you can add an RSS feed from our GMB auto poster or our post scheduler, or the GMB briefcase if you have that as well, because we can create an RSS feed from your GMB posts. So you get an RSS feed from your Google My Business posts, and you can add that as a feed within RankFeedr, and that will also alongside other feeds like what I'll show you. I've got tree service feeds, from like tree service blogs or tree care blogs, also geographic or city-based blogs for the city that asset is in. Also the .gov and .edu sites that are relevant to it as one of those sandwiches. Again, that's something that you can add in there as a static item. And so what happens is you can also add a Google Map URL, guys, as a static item, right? You can add the Google My Business website URL as a static item, the RSS feed from a GMB post, or from GMB posts, excuse me. You can add individual GMB post URLs as static URLs. So my point is there's a lot of stuff that you can do here to add additional relevance. So what I'll do is let me grab these 3 feeds real quick, and I'm going to drop these on the event page so you guys can see it. Stand by one moment. All right, so this is going to be the RSS feed from RankFeedr first. Underneath that, I'm going to have, you guys will see it here in just a moment. This will be the HTML feed. And I'm going to drop one more. Stand by one moment, guys. And I've got, like I said, I just set up a test on Friday to test this out. And I got 2 tests going on right now. And I'm going to be testing more with additional GMB assets, and I'm documenting everything. I'm testing a whole bunch of different off-page SEO methods right now for GMB assets, guys. And so I will be sharing those case study results. At least anybody that ends up picking this up that wants to see those case study results specific to this test, I'll be happy to share that. Okay. So let me also put this as the FeedBurner feed.
Where are you putting those, Bradley?
Putting these on the, oh shit, I just had caps lock on, damn it. On the Google event page, Lisa.
Oh, okay.
You don't have that?
I
can maybe Adam, if he's still on, can shoot it over to you.
Yeah, no problem. I'll shoot it over real quick, Lisa.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I just posted it on the page. I can see it, so you guys should be able to see it too if you want to take a look at those URLs. Lisa, do you want me to grab the screen for just a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me do that. Okay, you guys should be seeing my screen now. And so let me show you what I've got going on here. This is a GMB asset that I'd set up for a tree service site. And so this is the RSS feed directly from RankFeedr. This is the just the RSS feed version of it, not the HTML version of it. And so you can see that I've got Google Map as I've got everything set up. And for this particular feed is static in the top third. So it randomizes where my static items are going to be within the top third of the feed items. So I got the Google Map URL. If we click through, you'll see it goes directly to that particular maps asset right there. Okay. Also, if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll see here is my GMB website. That's another static item for that particular listing. Okay. Then if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll see this is a GMB post, guys. This was a GMB post fed into this feed through the RSS feed from our auto poster. So if we open that up into a new tab, it's going to show this post right there. You see that? That's our GMB post. So that's now a sticky or static item within the RSS feed as well. Well, excuse me. This was actually an RSS fed post. In other words, it came in through the RSS feed. So every time I post another post or the auto post post scheduler that we have, I schedule the post or my VA schedule that out. So tomorrow when it posts again, it will have another feed item inserted into the RSS feed. Does that make sense? So it'll dynamically update. And then you can see we've got a bunch of other stuff in there that are, somewhat related. We've got stuff from Turf Magazine. We've got stuff from Virginia Tech about forestry and arboriculture, which is, study of trees and that kind of stuff in here. We've got Caroline County, which is where this is. The town is called Bowling Green, but we've got Caroline County information in here, .gov site. We've got a Bowling Green, town of bowlinggreen.com site in here, all of that stuff, guys. And so what it's doing, and plus I added the geotagging feature that she just revealed or just launched through the RSS Authority Sniper 3, so that it's automatically injecting the additional geotagging as well, which, by the way, I meant to ask you that, Lisa, where can we see that geotag data? Can you look at the XML file and find it?
Yep, actually, it's towards the top. Let me show me
back.
All right, so let's go to okay, I'm going to show you the XML code here of the feed.
Lock it on you. There you go.
All right, now if you go down here, see where it says GeoRSS box.
Ah, I see it.
And then the coordinates are inside the tag for that. If it was a point that you selected, it would say GeoRSS : point. And then the extra advanced information here is in feature type tag. So I chose city, relationship centered at, and feature name Chandler, Arizona, video sharing. And so that is all your GPS information there for the feed.
That's awesome. Okay, cool.
Yep, and I also kind of wanted to show you too that we had added this, and it was added late last year, but I didn't really make a big deal out of it because I knew I was coming up with some other stuff too. So you notice now that the categories, it's got all these different tags.
Oh, nice.
So
where did those come from?
Well, the tags come from, part of them come from the feeds that come in. So like this was from shoutmeloud.com, and this particular post, you see how it's inside item? You get an item tag here. An item tag is for each individual post in that feed. And so this particular post, the person who made it tagged it with blogging, video marketing. And there's probably software, that's the one that I tagged the category from the, in the category when I did the feed. So it will kind of merge those together. It'll merge the tags that that person created on their blog post when they created this, and then it'll also add whatever tags I put in there. So like video sharing tags. So it's using a combination of category and tags, and so it's another way that it aggregates and gives you more relevance. So it's doing that for each of the feed items like the next one, digital marketing, freelance writing, software, YouTube, alternative, and video sharing. Those are all my tags.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So
I guess we can get to some questions here because we do have a few, if that's all right with you, Lisa.
yeah, no, that's fine.
But I guess before we do that, do you want to share the offer so that people understand what's available?
Yeah. Why don't we go back to? All right. So, and I had some other stuff here, but I think we've talked about most of the features that are in there. The offer for your customers right now is a discount on either a single license or a 5-computer pack. And this is the first year that I've included the 5-computer pack in the discount. So it's, if you have like VAs that you're working with, sometimes it's a good idea to have a 5-computer install. And get a $30 discount with coupon code RAS SM2019. And I'm also going to toss in 2 special training webinars. These will be live. However, there are also some from the previous year that if you don't want to wait for me to have the live ones, you can always start in on the ones that are on the website. They're in the members area. And if you join now, I know I'm going to, when I start doing a lot of really heavy promotion on the RankFeedr with the GPS stuff, the RankFeedr plan prices are going to go up a little bit. But if you want to get in and lock it down, you can get in on the 3.0 launch club for RankFeedr, and so you'll be able to cheat out of the out of the price increases that are coming to the plans.
Yeah.
A month or two.
And guys, there's a couple bonuses that we're going to throw in as well. As I just showed you, I've got I'm doing a bunch of different off-page tests in isolation for and on GMB assets to see what I can do to see which moves the needle the most. And like I said, I just set up 2 tests, which I will likely be adding several more to this for RankFeedr because I want to test a couple different figurations. One being just the RSS and then submitting to feed aggregators and directories. I saw a question from Greg about that. I'll talk about that in a moment. But I also want to test creating these feeds and then using that as a content syndication tool with our syndication networks and see what kind of push that gives. So again, I've got several tests going on with that. They just started on Friday, guys, so I don't have any data to share with you yet. But within the next 3 to 4 weeks or so, I will have those case studies wrapped up, and anybody that purchases will have access to that. Also, we're going to give you a coupon for $50 off of any one syndication network. It can be either a single syndication or a multi, 2-tiered syndication network, either way, but it's a $50 off coupon so that if you want to start syndicating your posts or your RankFeedr feeds, you can do that. Okay.
Great. Hey, do you guys have your affiliate link together?
Yeah, we posted it on the event page already.
Oh, okay, great.
It's up. It's semanticmastery.com/RSS Authority Sniper. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, that's it. RSS Authority Sniper, all one word. So, okay. Do you have time for some questions?
I do.
All right, let me grab the screen.
Okay.
We'll lock it onto the event page so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, let's start at the bottom. Okay, Greg says, I subscribed 2 years ago and can confirm that your system works really well, but I had noticed that your Facebook group was active, but there was little support for questions people were asking. Do you have someone now responding to paid subscribers?
Well, Facebook is not really where I provide a lot of technical support. So, it's always me.
Okay.
It's always
so use the support desk is what you're saying?
Yeah, you can use the support desk, or people can discuss amongst themselves too if you want to do it on Facebook. And I'm in there once in a while, but I'm just not on there every day, all day, because it's really tough to do that and code at the same time.
It's distracting, right?
Yeah. I don't know how many of you do any coding, but I just find that my language skills leave when I'm coding. It's like you come in and talk to me and I'm like, ugh, hungry.
All right. Well, the next question then. So Greg, yeah, use support if you need to. Obviously, Greg, you can also post in our group if you'd like.
Correct.
I know we got several users in Semantic Mastery that have been using it too. So I'm sure we could provide, start a discussion anyway. So, okay. So next question is, can a box be the 48 continental states?
There, I have no reason why you couldn't do that. It's unlimited.
Very cool.
Just that the corners of the box can't overlap each other, meaning you can't wrap it all the way around the world 1.5 times.
So you go to the southeasternmost tip of Florida and then the northwesternmost part of Washington State, right? And that would cover the entire country, basically.
Yep, that would do it.
There you go. Scott Walker says, is it possible to geo-target specific pages that are using zip code modifier to be very geo-specific? Well, yeah, Scott, because you can add that as a sticky or static item, whatever pages you want to add in there. So, for example, if you're creating pages that are specifically geo-targeted by zip code, which because of our GMB asset building process, I know what you're doing, then yeah, you could just add that as a static item to your RankFeedr feed. Does that make sense? That's exactly what I just showed you on the, I don't have my add ID page in that feeder. I just set that GMB asset up. I don't even have an add ID page for it, if that's what you're talking about, Scott. But I will go back and edit that feed to add the add ID page URL in there once I have it set up. Does that make sense? So hopefully that answers your question. Brett seems like he was making a smart comment. I'm going to skip that one. Next is Earl. He says, have 2.0 and had some issues logging into the FeedBurner on the site. How do I upgrade and how do I get the support on my FeedBurner issue? Okay, so first of all, in support, I just posted support at mindlinklabs.freshtest.com. That's our support email. Right. As far as how do I upgrade how do I upgrade? How does he upgrade? Is there an upgrade option inside the
You just go into the members area that you already have access to. I did not make a separate members area for 3.0. If you just go into 2 and download it, 3.0 is what you'll download.
There you go.
So it's already there. And if you need me to reset your license key for some reason, just let me know.
Yeah, she replied to me in like minutes on Friday. I wasn't expecting it, but it happened really quick. So you made my workday longer. Thanks.
Sorry about that.
No, I'm kidding. I'm glad you did because I got to set that test up. Okay, Greg says, and this is what I was just mentioning a second ago. Greg says, do you recommend submitting your RankFeedr RSS feeds to other RSS sites like on some of the gigs you see on Fiverr? And Greg, that's exactly what I did. I use this one RSS submit gig on Fiverr that submits to all they're using is the RSS submit 5 tool, which I've had that before, but it's kind of a pain in the ass because there's some captchas that have to be done manually. And so I'd rather just pay somebody $5 and have them submit it using that same software and then send me the report. And so I absolutely recommend that you submit your RSS feed to those types of gigs. You'll get a push out of it. What do you think?
I do too. When I first got involved with RSS feeds was really when I had a little store that I was doing online, and I actually paid a VA to go and do a bunch of RSS feed submissions because my shopping cart actually had RSS feeds, and we saw quite a boost out of that.
Yeah.
Even without the extra stuff, it was very effective.
It's super easy because with those gigs, guys, you buy a gig, $5. And all you do is submit the RSS feed URL, like paste it in and hit send, and that's it. Like they take care of the rest, and they'll send you a CSV report when it's done. It's perfect. By the way, you could do some pretty cool stuff with those reports too. So, and we'll talk about that in the mastermind, I suppose. Jim says, I wish there were more SEO tools were ported to macros. I hate having to either run a second computer. What does that have to do with this, Jim? I really don't understand how that has anything to do with what we're talking about here. So if you want to clarify that question, I don't see where you would need to have a virtual machine to run this. So anyways, if you can clarify that, I'll be happy to answer your question, or Lisa will. Greg says, can you show us examples of how Google has indexed a backlink to a money site by using the RSS feeds? Not sure I understand that 100%, but do you, Lisa?
I'm not sure what he means. Because what happens is that the RSS feed itself is not indexed, but it's crawled. And so what you're doing is setting up this little environment for it to be seen in a certain light.
Right.
And so, yeah, but I I really had mine were crawled within minutes a lot of times when I was doing it for my store. The content that we would write, we would publish and then run it through this almost immediately, and we would start getting traffic within an hour.
Well,
so
let me jump over here and show something, Greg. I'll show you what I mean, because take a look at this. I just was looking at this before I grabbed the screen. So this is that listing I was just sharing with you guys. And again, I just set this up on Friday, right? And so I'm in the maps pack, but then if we scroll down, take a look, guys. I just set this up on Friday. This is an older GMB asset, but it was just relocated to this area on Friday. And I just did a post. It hadn't been posted. No GMB posts had been posted to that asset and since August of 2018 until today. Today was the first post that went out through the post scheduler, because I set this up on Friday and scheduled post to begin today. And if we go take a look at this, look on page 2, right there is the GMB website, guys. And it's right there is the GMB post text from that post that was just published today. And it's on page 2, position 19, for a GMB asset that is not fully optimized and was just set up for the very, just had the very first post go out since its relocation, posted February 4th, today. Previous post was August 23rd. And it's page 2 organically and number 1 in the maps pack, okay? So again, yes, this was not a very competitive area, but I'm just showing you that a GMB post pushed through the RSS. Well, GMB posts should index quickly anyways, but I haven't seen this type of a result from a GMB website, especially a brand new website pushed on the page 2 in organic traffic, or excuse me, organic listings from a GMB post like that. That's the first time I've seen that. And part of that is probably because I've got this FeedBurner feed over here too, right? That was created from the RankFeedr, or excuse me, RSS, well, RankFeedr, but RSS Authority Sniper 3. And the FeedBurner feeds, that's like you're injecting the feed directly. You're posting it directly to Google. Google's bots are all over this. You see what I'm saying? Do you want to comment on that at all?
I've seen really, really similar results. And another thing that I've noticed with these is that they tend to be long lasting. You can walk off after you've done the work, and a year later they'll still be hanging on first page. Or I've got one that's still hanging on the first page of Google after nearly 3 years. And I haven't done a single other thing to that page other than point the feed at it and let it run.
Yeah, because it's constantly getting co-citations through the content updates through other sites.
Right.
Yeah. That's what's great about it, guys. And Greg, I know you know that for sure, but because Greg has used this quite a bit. But the fact that, guys, this isn't, you don't have to create all the, just do what you normally do with your websites and such, content creation. But RankFeedr is going to be working quietly in the background to constantly be updating. Bots will be crawling it. And that's where the co-citation comes from, co-occurrence and all that she just went over.
Right.
Aaron says, does RankFeedr give the geo option, or is that only available through Authority Sniper?
RankFeedr has it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because I had to go and do work both places in order for it to be there. I mean, you can't put it into the feed unless RankFeedr knows how to put the geo-targeting stuff in there. So I did all of that work first, and then I, tailed it back to the RSS Authority Sniper, so you could use it both places.
Very cool. All right, so Rick Pierce says, what if we are an original RSS Authority Sniper customer? And then Dwayne Armstrong just above that says, anything for the RIS 1 or 2.0 people, been a member from the start? Martin James, similar question. So we got a lot of questions about, so obviously our audience has already loved your product.
Right. Well, I actually will give a free upgrade to 2.0 or 3.0 or both if you had the 1.0 that you'd already purchased. The only requirement, because you're going to need it anyway, is that you send me your RankFeedr receipt. Send me your RankFeedr receipt and I will manually upgrade you into 3.0.
Okay, so that's if they have a current subscription with RankFeedr.
Correct.
You can upgrade the RSS Authority Sniper, the front end software.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep, at no charge. So.
Okay, so that's most of these people were asking the same question, so we're going to keep on moving. Aaron says, no, that's another one. Aaron says, if I already have RankFeedr, are our prices locked in with the new options?
Correct.
There you go.
Yep. You don't, I grandfathered in everybody who was already on there. So now there is one thing that I need to mention. The basic level of GPS targeting is in all the plans. The advanced is in the pro and above.
Okay. And Greg says, what's the monthly cost besides the purchase of the software? Well, I guess if you click through to the offer, do you have a RankFeedr pricing page that I can share with them?
If you go to rankfeedr.com/choose plan, and that's all one word, no hyphens or anything. You can
choose plan.
Choose plan. Yep.
Guys, go to rankfeedr.com, choose plan, and there you go. That's a very inexpensive price, guys, for what this does.
Yep. It's, you know, it's not made to be as expensive as it could be. I mean, it's made to be something that you can just treat it as a commodity and do it with all your new content.
Yeah.
So that's really what the pricing is based on. Is I really wanted people to be able to afford it and to just, you know, keep doing it.
But when you launch this more publicly, that's when they'll go up, right? So
yeah, they'll go up. They'll go up a little bit.
There you go.
You know, whenever you add new features and do a lot of new development work, you're usually going to have to raise prices a little bit. But like I said, I try and keep it reasonable.
Yeah, and that's more than reasonable as it stands right now. That's for sure. And Don and Micah have a similar question. I'll read that in just a moment. But Chaz says, let's say we purchase one computer license and computer dies. Is there a way to remove that and replace it with another? Yes, Chaz. Just contact support and she'll reset your license.
Yep.
So Don and Micah both ask, what happens when you need more feeds than the top level plan allows?
You can upgrade. You just have to email me at support, ask me to cancel your current subscription, and then when it's time for your plan to renew, you just upgrade to the new plan. You just use the same email address that you used originally, and it will hook right up to your existing feeds, and you'll just have a higher quota at that point.
That's awesome. So there's room for expansion.
Yep.
And last, Jim is clarifying his question. He was just mad because he didn't know that it was in an Adobe Air. So Jim, thank you for clarifying that. I'm glad that she sorted that for you already. So Will Alvarez, you must have been asking about the RankFeedr pricing plans. I'm going to grab the link and drop it for you on the page. So there you go. You should be able to take a look at that. As far as the you guys, there you go, guys. rankfeedr.com/choose plan. It's RankFeedr, FEEDR, guys. It's on the page now. Just click the link on the page.
Yeah. Yeah, we have one of those modern spellings of feeder without the extra E in the end.
Yeah. Or plural with a Z or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, listen, we're at well over 90 minutes now. I think Marco squeezed in here. He snuck in here. Marco, are you available to? What are your thoughts on this? He must be muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
go. I was talking into a muted mic. I've used both of the previous iterations of her software. I love the software. I mean, it's robust and it does what it's supposed to do, which is get you all of that co-citation, all of that relevance. It's all we're looking for right now. How do we create even more relevance? Well, now you know how. Lisa just gave it to you. Those of you who are familiar with what we're doing and you know how important relevance is, you have the tool to generate as much relevance as you need to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, and it's simple. I mean, guys, you know, she could have made it more complicated to make it seem fancier, but I love the fact that it's simple. It's real easy. You know, there was some other RSS splicing tools out there that were being promoted too as well, and I think, you know, there was basically two different kinds. There was one that was good for content marketing, and then one that was really good for SEO. And I've always said that the RankFeedr, Lisa Allen's product, is the SEO tool. The other type of RSS splicers were better for like content syndication because you could add HTML elements and all that kind of stuff, but purely for SEO purposes or value. And I love the simplicity is the fact that, you know, RankFeedr is, again, very simple interface. Just a few steps, boom, 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 done. You've got a feed now that is going to constantly create co-citation in the background without you having to do another thing. That's automation at its best. So,
yeah, I'm really, really lazy when it comes to things being simple. You know, I like it simple. It just doesn't make any sense to me to make people jump through more hoops than they need to. So,
yeah. Yeah, and who likes overcomplicated software that takes 2 weeks learning curve? You know, like I certainly don't.
I don't like those airplane cockpits.
Okay, let's see. Michael says, so I'm confused here. Do we need RankFeedr or Authority Sniper or both?
You can run with just RankFeedr, but your feeds for co-citation feeds to be crawled always have to have a place to live. And so RankFeedr is the place where they live, where they get updated, where the server continuously calls the search engines back to recrawl them and see the fresh content and keep everything relevant. You can do it without RSS Authority Sniper. However, you're going to have to go and look up the feeds yourself and all of that stuff. And it just makes the process so much easier. The RSS Authority Sniper is a one-time purchase. The RankFeedr is a subscription because it's, you know, I have to continuously pay for this server every month.
Development and server costs and all that, and I get that. And so, Michael, to be clear, the RSS Authority Sniper, the front end product, which is the one-time fee for the software, that just helps you to locate feeds in a quicker way in one interface, as opposed to going to Google and manually searching for them. I'll be 100% honest. I still go and search manually and find other feeds or static items. And I don't just use the RSS Authority Sniper. I still add a manual component to it because I try to find additional static items that I can squeeze into there and things like that. I just want to be 100% transparent with you guys, but you can do it with just RankFeedr alone without the software, but then it's going to be complete manual process on the front end. And
yeah.
So, there you go.
RankFeedr has got a little dashboard, a feed editor dashboard, which is if you want to re-edit a feed, you can't do it in RSS Authority Sniper. So like say you wanted to change out or
so there's one there. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a feed editor inside RankFeedr. So
this is it here. So like the one that I was just showing you guys, if we take a look at the edit here,
yeah,
all the data that I had added to that one. And this is inside RankFeedr, guys.
Right.
Okay.
It's got a web dashboard.
Okay, cool. I'm not seeing any other questions come in, so I think we can wrap it up. Once again, guys, the offer, let me pull that up if I can find it again. Okay, so the offer is semanticmastery.com/RSS Authority Sniper, all one word, limited time coupon from Lisa available from today through February 12th, which is $30 off either the single license or the 5 license pack. The coupon code is right there on the page. I'll post all of this up at the top of the page here again in a moment, guys. And lastly, the bonus from SM is $50 off of any one syndication network. It can be single or multi-tiered. It's either way. It doesn't matter, whatever you decide. Just have to send your proof of purchase into support@semanticmastery.com. Plus the case studies that or the off-page tests that I've set up for RankFeedr specifically. I'll share with you guys once I have that completed, which will be about a month from now. Okay, so again, anybody that purchased or anybody that has purchased before through us, I'll make sure that we reach out from anybody from today, especially, and notify you guys when that case study is available. It may just end up being a YouTube video and a Google Doc or something like that, but I'll make sure that you get access to it.
Cool. Those are some great bonuses.
Okay, cool. No other questions. So I think we can wrap it up. Well, Lisa, I really appreciate your time today, as always.
Hey, I had a great time. I always enjoy hanging out with you guys and your peeps.
And I'll by the way, I'll send you that case study when it's done too, because
okay, would love to see it.
I'm sure you could use it in some of your marketing too. So.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Lisa. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.